Amazing discovery. After 3 years of pain, a hidden contraceptive exposed, transforming our lives. In the cozy, bustling town of Maplewood, Ohio, where the bakery scents waft through the streets and laughter of children dances along the sidewalks, a revolution is brewing. For Sarah, a 35-year-old mother battling the weight of loss after being let go from her job at the factory, hope feels like a distant memory. Each day slips by in a blur of bills, homework, and the chaotic giggles of her 2 young children. The idea of a 3rd child feels like a whisper of a dream, overshadowed by overwhelming reality. After a particularly exhausting day of fruitless job searching, Sarah found herself scrolling aimlessly through an online health forum. Then it caught her eye, a groundbreaking study claiming an innovative contraceptive method, buried deep within endless posts. Heart racing, she read about a choice many women were never told about, something that promised not just control over their bodies, but over their futures. A rush of hope filled her chest. Could this change everything? She rushed to share it with her neighbors, a collective of women with similar struggles. This could empower us, she proclaimed, but was met with sideways glances and hushed whispers. That's not what a good mother does, a neighbor had said, the weight of tradition hanging like a heavy cloak in the air. But no, Sarah wouldn't let fear stifle her. Her passion ignited. Okay then, I'll start conversations, she thought. She began gathering local women, igniting discussions over coffee and cookies about family planning. They opened up, sharing their struggles, fears, and dreams lost under the weight of expectations. Each time a voice joined, her self-doubt cracked, revealing strength she'd long forgotten. Then, just when Sarah felt the winds of change stirring, life threw her a curveball. A health scare rattled their family. Scared and fragile, the community wrapped around her with unexpected warmth. Neighbors who once averted their eyes rallied in support, bringing casseroles, flowers, and prayers. That support revealed threads of hidden bonds that intertwined the hearts of Maplewood's women. Amid this turmoil, Tom, her devoted husband, began to wade through his own battles with the weight of his service. They started having open conversations about everything, their dreams, their fears, and what they truly wanted in life. They explored the troubling question of personal aspirations versus family loyalty. Every touch and gaze between them felt laden with anticipation. As the town hall meeting approached, Sarah felt the burden of their expectations resting heavily on her shoulders. The voices of support swelled around her, fueling her courage yet heightening the pressure. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening.
YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can, drop a like. It really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Standing at the podium, Sarah's heart raced. She felt every gaze upon her, warm yet suffocating. Can I really do this? The doubt echoed in her mind. She inhaled deeply, nerves sparking and fading, and prepared to speak. Would she shatter the glass walls of tradition, or be swallowed whole by them? The air was thick with anticipation as Sarah stood at the podium. Her heart pounded like a drum, each beat thumping a rhythm of uncertainty. This was more than just a meeting. It was a crossroads. She glanced across the room, catching the eyes of familiar faces, some supportive, others skeptical. There was Mrs. Jensen, who had always worn a judgmental frown, and next to her, Tom, his reassuring smile urging her on. She cleared her throat, feeling the texture of the microphone against her skin. "Thank you all for coming tonight," she began, her voice a little shaky. "I know change can feel scary, but what's scarier is the idea that we're living life on someone else's terms." Murmurs rippled through the crowd, some nodding while others stiffened in their seats. She drew a deep breath, the scent of coffee and baked goods swirling around her. "I want to talk about something that's often considered taboo: family planning, control over our bodies, and the choices we can make." Anxiety fluttered in her stomach, but she pressed on, fueled by the thought of the women who'd shared their stories with her. There's a contraceptive method that could change our lives, a method that many of us may not even know exists. It's time we take back our narrative. Sarah looked down at her notes, the words blurring momentarily, but the faces of the women she had gathered flashed in her mind, faces of lives intertwined, fears shared. We need to step out of the shadow of fear. This isn't about rejecting motherhood, it's about embracing choice, she said, allowing the words to flow, each one gaining strength. As she spoke, she could sense the room shifting.
The tension began to dissipate, replaced by a hum of curiosity. Some women leaned in, their eyes brightening. Among them was Lisa, a mother of 3, who had often complained about being overwhelmed and unsure. "What if we want more children?" Lisa called out, her voice rising above the murmurs. "Isn't it selfish to even think about this?" Sarah felt her pulse quickened, but stood firm. "It's not selfish to consider your well-being. It's selfless. Our children deserve parents who are joyful and fulfilled, not exhausted and resentful."
If we don't take care of ourselves, how can we take care of them? The room grew quieter, the message sinking in. Sarah's pulse thudded in her ears as she continued. She was no longer just the voice of her own fears. She was the voice of many women in Maplewood who craved these conversations. After a gentle silence, Mrs. Jensen spoke up, her voice shaky yet vulnerable. "I spent years burying my own dreams for my children. Maybe it is time we think about our happiness too." Tears prickled the corners of Sarah's eyes. This was it, the shift she had yearned for. Hope floated in the air like the aroma of fresh pastries. The meeting lingered in the air like a promise, a desperate invitation for deeper engagement. As the last questions were asked and the night drew to a close, Sarah felt a spark of something stronger than she'd ever felt before, a collective heartbeat of unity, hope, and transformation. Walking home, Tom grasped her hand, his warmth infusing her with a new strength. "You spoke from the heart," he said quietly. "They needed to hear that." She smiled, but a knot of fear still twisted in her stomach. What would happen next? Would they embrace this newfound power, or would doubt creep back in? As she lay down that night, Sarah pondered how fragile this victory felt, yet how exhilarating. The fight was far from over. In this quiet moment, with dreams hovering close, Sarah whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning." But would the town really be ready to embrace a change that could redefine their entire lives? The sun crept into Sarah's bedroom, casting soft golden rays across the floor. Her mind buzzed with thoughts from the previous evening. The echoes of excitement, skepticism, and emotion still floated in the air, making it hard for her to settle down. She felt tired, but also invigorated, a strange blend after such an intense night. As she got up, the weight of her goal pressed firmly on her shoulders. Would her community rally behind the change she hoped for? While she brushed her teeth, her reflection showed a mix of determination and uncertainty. Today was just as important as last night. She knew she had to keep the conversation alive. After a quick breakfast, she grabbed her paper and pen. She was ready to make notes on how to reach out to the women of Maplewood more effectively. She needed a plan. Suddenly, her phone buzzed on the table. A message from Lisa popped up reading, "Can we talk? I'm really thinking about what you said last night. Could we meet?" "Of course," Sarah typed back, a smile breaking through her anxious spots. Lisa's open-mindedness felt like a ray of sunshine. Sarah needed to fortify that light in the community, to gather more women willing to speak up and share their journeys. Not long later, the doorbell chimed. It was Lisa, her face a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Hey, thanks for coming over," Sarah said, motioning her inside. Lisa sat down at the kitchen table, glancing at the notes scattered around. "I've been thinking about what if we organize something? Maybe a workshop?" "Absolutely. You mean like a safe space for women to share and learn?" "Yes. We could have discussions, maybe bring in a doctor or an expert on the subject. It could empower us all," Lisa said, her eyes brightening at the idea. Sarah felt a surge of hope. They could guide each other, learn together, and break down the walls of fear. What about inviting the women who attended the meeting? The more the merrier, right? What if we share our stories too? I could talk about my struggles with feeling overwhelmed and the pressure to be a perfect mom, Lisa suggested, her voice trembling slightly. I think it could help others see they're not alone. A rush of emotion washed over Sarah. Yes, those stories are what will resonate with others. Let's do it. They spent the afternoon sketching out plans, brainstorming topics, and even naming the workshop. Empowerment through choices, Lisa proclaimed, and it felt right. They laughed and snacked on cookies as they fueled each other's passion, a camaraderie forming in every word exchanged. By the time the sun began to set outside, Sarah felt lighter. Together, they had created something that could shift the narrative within their community. But deep down, shadows of doubt lingered. Would people really show up? Would they speak honestly? Later that night, as she lay in bed,
Excitement mixed with nerves twirled in her stomach. The fire was igniting, but could they sustain it? Suddenly, her phone chirped again. It was another message, this time from Mrs. Jensen. "I've been thinking about what you said, Sarah. Can I join your workshop? I want to share my story too." Sarah's heart hammered in her chest. Could this truly be happening? Could even the skeptics like Mrs. Jensen find their voice? As she typed back a confident, "Yes, you're welcome," she couldn't ignore the thrill pumping through her veins. A door had opened, and there was no telling where it would lead. With a fresh wave of hope, Sarah whispered into the night, "Tomorrow it all begins." But as she closed her eyes, another worry crept in. Would they all truly be ready to share the burdens they carried, or would fear still keep them silent? Morning arrived like a gentle reminder that change was on the horizon. The sun glimmered through the window, brightening Sarah's kitchen as she prepared some coffee. She felt a buzz of hope mixed with nervous energy as she made her way through that familiar morning routine. Today wasn't just an ordinary day. It was the day they would share their stories and inspire others to do the same. She set up the kitchen table, stacking papers, refining plans, and tweaking the agenda for the workshop. Each detail mattered. Each note felt like a step closer to their goal.
She could almost hear the voices of women echoing in her mind, sharing their truths and forging connections. In the midst of her preparations, her phone buzzed again. Another message from Lisa. "I'm on my way. Can't wait." Great. Lisa's enthusiasm was infectious. Sarah took a deep breath, trying to calm the fluttering in her stomach. Would they both be able to manage the weight of their own stories? Their community's response was still shrouded in uncertainty. Lisa arrived just a few moments later, her bright smile lighting up the room. "Ready to rock it?" she asked, her spirit radiating excitement. Sarah nodded, her apprehension slowly slipping away. "Yes, just a few last touches. How about we set up some chairs in the living room, make it feel inviting?" "Perfect idea. Let's create a space that feels safe," Lisa said as they moved furniture around, crafting an inviting atmosphere. As they worked, they chatted about potential icebreakers, hoping to ease the tension. "What if we start with something light? Maybe share one fun fact about ourselves," Lisa suggested. "That's brilliant," Sarah replied, envisioning the laughter that could bridge their nerves. With each minute passing, the workshop's momentum built, as if the air itself was charged with possibility. But then came a ring that sent a ripple of nerves back through Sarah. It was time for the event to begin. When the first participants trickled in, Sarah felt her heart race. The women entered hesitantly, glancing around, unsure of what the evening would hold. Sarah and Lisa welcomed each of them with warmth, hoping to ease their apprehension. Sarah could see familiar faces, those who'd shared their worries before. She could see Mrs. Jensen standing at the back, her expression guarded yet curious. "Don't worry, we'll ease into it together," Sarah said, her voice steady, trying to instill confidence in them. The women nodded, some still shifting their weight nervously from foot to foot. With the small room filling up, Sarah felt a shiver of excitement fill the air. She took a deep breath, standing tall and addressing the group. "Thank you all for coming. We're here to create a space of openness and connection. Remember, no story is too small, and no one is alone in this journey." As they began their introductions, a sense of solidarity formed in the room. Each voice shared snippets of struggles, laughter poking through the emotions as they connected. Sarah felt a warmth blooming inside her chest. This was the moment she dreamed of. It was happening. But just as the room began to breathe in the vulnerability and shared strength, the door to the hallway creaked open, and another woman slipped in, cheeks flushed. Sarah recognized her immediately. It was Sarah's old friend, Caroline, someone who hadn't stepped foot in Maplewood for years. "Caroline!" Sarah exclaimed, the room pausing. "What are you doing here?"
Caroline's eyes scanned the room, momentarily caught between hesitation and the longing for connection. Sarah felt a knot of anxiety form in her stomach. Would Caroline's unexpected entrance shift the energy that was building? As Caroline approached, Sarah could almost hear the whispers of the past. They hadn't spoken in so long. The question loomed in the air. Would Caroline share her story today, or would she remain distant? With all eyes on her, anticipation crackled in the air. But just as the room felt tense, the sound of a phone ringing pierced through, interrupting the moment. Everyone looked at Sarah's phone, flashing a caller ID. It was her mother. Would she dare to answer? Sarah glanced at Caroline, heart racing. She could feel the weight of choices mounting. Would this be the connection they needed, or would it pull them back into a past they were trying to overcome? The ring echoed through the room, breaking the fragile moment. Sarah's hand trembled slightly as she glanced at the screen. It was her mother, a name laced with memories, nestled between love and disappointment. She hesitated, her heart a chaotic mix of longing and dread. Caroline was there, standing in front of her, the embodiment of a chapter Sarah had thought closed. "Are you going to answer it?" Lisa whispered, a soft urgency in her voice. Sarah opened her mouth to respond, but no words came. The weight of the past hung between them, an invisible thread connecting all three women. Caroline stood rooted, eyes expectant, as if she too sensed that this call could change everything. Taking a breath, Sarah stepped away from the gathering, her hand shaking with the phone pressed to her ear. "Mom," she said softly, aware of the eyes that followed her. "Sarah, Her mother's voice was shaky, filled with years of unspoken words. "I saw the flyer for your workshop. I didn't think you—" "Why are you calling?" Sarah interrupted, her voice firmer than she felt. "After all this time—" "I know I haven't been there for you, and I'm sorry," her mother said. "I want to make amends. Can we talk?" Sarah's thoughts raced. Should she stay focused on her workshop, or was this the moment she'd always needed? Her heart pounded in her chest, a mixture of hope and fear flooding her veins. She saw Caroline in the hallway, unresolved emotions swirling in her eyes. "Can we talk later?" Sarah replied, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. "I'm busy right now." "Busy?" her mother asked, the confusion evident. "Is it about that workshop? The one for women?" "Yeah," Sarah replied, remembering the hope she felt just moments ago. "We're sharing our stories." There was a pause on the other end, a silence heavy with the weight of unacknowledged struggles. "I wish I could be there. It sounds important, sweetheart." "Maybe it is," Sarah admitted, glancing back at the room where anxious whispers filled the space. Each face reflected a longing for connection. "But right now, I'm trying to help other women share and connect." With that, she hung up, an unfamiliar resoluteness settling over her. The conversation with her mother had left her feeling raw and exposed, but it also stoked a fire inside her. She turned back towards the gathering, her heart racing, not just from the call, but from a newfound resolve to lift the weight of her past. An unexpected energy filled the room, a blend of emotions swirling like an unpredictable storm. Sarah stepped closer to Caroline, who had watched her with a mix of curiosity and concern. "I'm sorry," Sarah said, her voice softer now. "I didn't expect to see you here today." Caroline looked down, then back up at Sarah. "I didn't know if I should come. It's been so long. Are you really okay?" The question struck a chord, not just for Sarah, but for the entire group. The air crackled with the potential for revelations. She could feel the collective breath holding, every participant waiting for Sarah to take the leap. "I'm working on it," Sarah replied honestly, her heart pounding. "What about you? What brings you back?" Just then, Mrs. Jensen spoke softly from her seat. "We're all working on things, dear. It takes courage to be here, to show up." Bonding through shared experiences, laughter cut through the hesitance lingering in the air. A feeling of understanding began to blossom. Caroline stepped forward, her voice both fragile and determined. "I have my story too, and I want to share it." As she began to speak, sharing her own struggles, Sarah felt a warmth spread through her entire being.
Caroline was still speaking, sharing her struggles with an honesty that gripped the room. I thought I was alone. For years I fought this fight by myself. But then I realized so many women share my pain. Sarah's heart softened, feeling the strain of Caroline's voice resonate with her own history of isolation. Deep down in her own heart, she too had felt detached, afraid to reach out. With every word Caroline spoke, a flicker of courage ignited in Sarah. The strength of this moment, the gathering of stories that had brought these women together, was far more powerful than she had anticipated. As Caroline continued, Sarah made a decision. She would share her own struggle. For the first time, the thought didn't scare her. It felt right, necessary even. Feeling the gazes of the women in the room, she stepped forward, her voice trembling but resolute. I understand, Caroline. Your story speaks to me. Eyes turned towards her. She could feel the tension build again, a perceptible thread of anticipation binding them all. For years I kept everything inside. I thought I had to, that sharing my struggles meant I was weak. But that's not true. When we let ourselves be vulnerable, it opens doors we never knew existed. The room was silent. Every face was painted with understanding. Today, I got a call from my mom, Sarah continued, pumping herself up with the energy of the moment. It's been years since we spoke. I thought I didn't need her, but this workshop reminded me that we're all carrying something. We need to share those burdens. Tears glistened in Caroline's eyes, and a few others wiped at their own. Sarah reached deep within, feeling the emotions swell. If we cloak ourselves in silence, we miss connections. Who can help us if we don't let anyone in? With those words, she felt a palpable shift in the air. The women in the room exhaled together, as if releasing pent-up energy, and Sarah felt their collective strength surge. Can we all share our stories? Lisa asked, her voice rising with hope. Yes, came the enthusiastic chorus from around the room. Just then, Sarah's phone buzzed again, but this time, she ignored it completely. The flickers of her past couldn't hold her here. Connection was worth taking the risk. The energy had shifted from fear to solidarity, and she embraced it wholeheartedly. Each woman took turns sharing their challenges, forging a bond that promised healing and understanding. Laughter and tears wove through the narrative shared among them, crafting an intricate tapestry of support. But amid the energy and warmth blossoming, the insistent buzz of Sarah's phone nagged at her thoughts, a distant whisper of urgency she couldn't ignore forever. What awaited her? Did she dare to look, to peel back another layer of her life? As the last woman spoke and the room erupted in encouraging applause, Sarah felt a pang of hope.
But with it, the ticking clock of uncertainty loomed, a reminder that revelations could hide in unexpected places. What lay beyond that message? Would it become a doorway to reconciliation, or merely a distraction? With a mixture of excitement and dread, she finally reached for her phone, wondering if this moment was about to change everything once more. As Sarah's fingers brushed the screen, her heart thumped louder in her chest. She had just shared something deep and personal. The power of connection felt like an electric charge in the room, but the message tugged at her. With a shaky breath, she opened it. The words leaped out. This new contraceptive method could change everything for women. Discover the secrets that can end years of pain. It sounded transformative, just like her moment with the women in the room. But why did it feel so ominous? A part of her wondered what secrets lingered behind those claims. She glanced up, catching the wide-eyed faces of her newfound friends, still radiant from the empowerment they had just experienced together. "Sarah, everything okay?" Lisa's voice broke through the chaos of her mind. Sarah's words caught. What did she want to say? The phone felt heavy in her hands. "I got a message about a contraceptive. I don't know, it just feels like more than just a simple email." Her voice trailed off, blending with the worried glances circling the gathering. "Is it something you need to respond to?" Caroline asked, her brow furrowed with concern.
It was clear the bond they had formed meant they would support one another. The vulnerability lingered thick in the air. What if it's a trap, or worse? What if it misleads me like everything else has? Sarah said, her voice trembling with the weight of old fears. Past disappointments flashed before her, lost connections, broken promises. You have the power to take control, Caroline encouraged gently, her eyes shining with a quiet strength. This is your journey too. Whatever that message is, just remember we are here for you. The warmth from her words wrapped around Sarah like a shield. Swallowing hard, Sarah made her decision. I need to know. As she clicked the message open, a whirlwind of emotions brewed inside her. The screen filled with details, and each line felt significant. Groundbreaking research, testimonials of hope, lists of benefits. But the nagging question loomed. Was hope genuine, or was it another facade? Ladies, I think I want to dive deeper into this, Sarah said, looking around at the faces, eager yet anxious. I want to figure out where this leads, and if it's something worth pursuing. A chorus of support erupted around her. You can do it. We'll support you. A wave of exhilaration swept over the room, lifting her spirits. But still, doubt flickered. What if it's just another dead end? What if it leads to more heartache? Every chance has its risks, Lisa said, her voice filled with conviction.
But every chance also carries potential. You owe it to yourself to seek the truth. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling every heartbeat, every shared sentiment. In this moment of vulnerability, she realized she was not alone. Okay, she decided, her voice firming. Let's investigate. As they spoke, brainstorming ways to dig into the information, excitement began to ripple through the group. Ideas bounced from one person to the next, growing in momentum, painting picture after picture of possibilities. But even within the splendor of hope, Sarah couldn't shake the unease settled in her gut. This could lead to something wonderful, or it could crack the world she had just begun to build again. The meeting wound down, laughter and camaraderie echoing as they started to disperse. Sarah was grateful for the warmth surrounding her, but her mind was already tangled in thoughts of the next steps. As she walked out into the fading daylight, her phone buzzed again, the screen illuminating a new message. The curiosity and dread pulsed side by side. What more would she uncover about the hidden contraceptive? Would it hold the key to a brighter future, or unlock more chaos in her life? With her heart racing and hands trembling, she hesitated for just a moment longer, eyes fixed on that glowing screen. The message stared back at her, bold letters shouting promises of transformation. Sarah's breath caught as she realized this could lead her down an unexpected path. She remembered the conversations, the warmth of shared struggles, the laughter that made her feel part of something bigger. Yet, the weight of uncertainty pressed heavily on her chest. With a shaky hand, she tapped the notification. The screen filled with graphics, images of women smiling, testimonials beneath them, each one a story dripping with hope. I finally feel free, a woman wrote, her face radiant. This changed everything, claimed another, with eyes full of joy. For a moment, Sarah felt that flutter of hope. Could this really be the answer she had been searching for? But then doubt crept back in. Could these statements be genuine? The images all too polished, the testimonials so perfectly written. She glanced around, her friends' faces still teasing the edges of her vision. What do I do? She whispered to herself, feeling the pressure of their encouragement weigh on her. Just then, Lisa reappeared from the shadows, seemingly sensing Sarah's turmoil. Hey, you good? She asked, concern etching her features. Just processing, Sarah replied, her voice trembling slightly. This feels like a lot. What if it's fake, just another marketing ploy? Then we call it out for what it is, Lisa said, folding her arms as she leaned against the wall, resolve in her posture. But what if it's not? What if it means a new beginning, not just for you, but for so many others? It could be worth exploring, don't you think? Sarah's heart raced at the thought. Did she dare to hope for something that could ripple beyond her own life? The idea swelled within her. What if she could be part of a movement that shifted perspectives, that empowered women? She was tired of feeling small. For once, she wanted to feel bold. Okay, Sarah said, shaking off the doubt. Let's not waste any time. I'll respond to the message. A smile spread across Lisa's face, the tension easing just a bit. That's it, she said, her voice lighter now. Together, we'll get to the bottom of this. We'll do the research and reach out to others. You'll see that this is a lot bigger than any of us." As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden hue over the parking lot, Sarah's anxiety began to melt away. Together, they gathered their small group again, sharing ideas for how they could investigate further. They brainstormed ways to reach out to women's health forums, connect with experts, and dive into research. Laughter and chatter filled the air, the promise of adventure igniting their collective spirit. But amid the excitement, Sarah couldn't shake the persistent nagging thought: what if this journey led to more disappointment? That night, as she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the warmth of her friend's support played in her mind like a reel of memories. She felt a shift inside, the idea of unity, of facing uncertainties together. It brought a small spark of hope. Just as she drifted off to sleep, the glow of her phone illuminated the darkened room again. Another message. Intrigued, she opened it, holding her breath. "Your journey begins now. We have crucial information to share that could change everything for you." Her heart raced anew, a mixture of excitement and fear washing over her. What truths awaited her? Would this reveal be a lifeline or another heartbreak? The possibilities sprawled before her like an uncharted map, each twist leading to the unknown. What awaited her on this path of discovery? Sarah woke the next morning, still buzzing from the previous night's unexpected message. The weight of its promise lingered in the air like the remnants of a vivid dream. She sat up in bed, her heart pounding. The promise of change felt tantalizing, yet an unsettling doubt loomed. With a deep breath, she rose, preparing to face the day ahead. At breakfast, Sarah couldn't focus on her coffee. The warm steam curled into her face, but her mind wandered. Lauren and Mia, her loyal friends, chatted enthusiastically about their plans for the day. When their voices faded, she took a deep breath, weaving her fingers around her cup. "Hey, are you in there?" Lauren asked, nudging her playfully. "What's going on, girl? You okay?" "Yeah, just thinking," Sarah replied, forcing a smile. But as she looked back down at her uneaten toast, she felt a flicker of excitement course through her veins. What could this lead to? Later, the group gathered in the park under a sprawling oak tree.
Sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating dappled patterns on the grass. The vibrant chatter surrounded Sarah like a cocoon. They all shared their ideas for their exploration of the mysterious message. Each voice sparked creativity and camaraderie, and for once, the heaviness in Sarah's chest began to lift. "What if we start by connecting with that online group I mentioned?" Mia suggested, eyes sparkling. "They talked about this same product. Who knows what experiences they might have?" "Great idea," Lisa chimed in, tapping away at her phone to gather more details. Sarah watched her friends rally together with a conviction she had never experienced before. Perhaps this journey wasn't just about her. It was about empowering all of them. Soon they found themselves diving deep into the interwebs, scouring forum threads and reading dozens of comments about the product. Each story they uncovered held its own weight, drawing Sarah into a whirlwind of emotions. Some experiences were enlightening, while others were heartbreaking. With every tale, the weight of collective pain and resilience swirled within her. "It feels like we're not alone," Sarah said, her voice breaking as she glanced up at her friends. "These women, they're fighting just like us." Suddenly, Sarah's phone buzzed, jolting her from the moment. Breathless, she opened the notification. Another message, this one from an unrecognized number, pulled her heart into her throat. "Meet us tomorrow, 5 p.m., at the coffee shop on Main. You won't want to miss this." Panic washed over her. Should we go? What if it's a trap? The sense of urgency dripped from her voice. But what if it's not? Lisa countered, determination etched into every line of her face. This could be the moment that changes everything for us. We can't let fear hold us back. The room surged with energy as her friends nodded in agreement. They were ready to embrace the unknown, even if a thread of worry clung to Sarah's heart. That night, as Sarah prepared for bed, the questions tumbled in her mind. What awaited them behind that hidden door? Could they finally find answers to their struggles, or would they plummet into another cycle of disappointment? As she lay in darkness, sleep eluded her. Images of smiling women, of scars and struggles, whirled through her thoughts. She wanted to be brave, to leap into this uncertainty with her friends by her side. What would their meeting hold? The dawn of a new discovery glimmered just on the horizon, but the shadows of fear and doubt lingered. Sarah closed her eyes, a whisper escaping her lips. What if this is the moment that changes everything? And as the faint sound of her phone buzzed once more, she couldn't help but wonder if she was about to step into the unknown, bathed in both hope and dread. What truths lay ahead? Only time would tell. The coffee shop was alive with the aroma of freshly brewed espresso and the hum of conversations.
Light poured through the windows, casting a warm glow over the wooden tables. Sarah arrived with Tom, hand in hand, his reassuring presence grounding her. "Are you ready?" he asked, squeezing her hand gently. "As ready as I'll ever be," she replied, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and anxiety. As they walked in, Sarah spotted her friends already gathered at a large table. Lisa waved, and Sarah felt a flutter of warmth in her chest. This wasn't just about her anymore. They were all in this together. Once seated, Sarah took a deep breath, scanning the familiar faces around her. "We are here for each other, no matter what," she reminded them, her voice steady but filled with emotion. Just then, a new group took a table near them, and Sarah's heart skipped as she recognized the women from the online forums they had been exploring. Could this be the moment of connection they were hoping for? "Ladies, there they are," Lisa whispered, excitement bursting from her. "We should go talk to them." "Yes," Sarah agreed. With a mix of determination and nerves, they approached the table. "Hey, we've been reading your stories online. We're trying to learn more about the contraceptive everyone is buzzing about," Sarah said, her voice gaining strength with each word. The women turned, surprised but also welcoming. "So you're the ones behind those forum posts?" one woman responded, a friendly smile breaking across her face. "We could have talked for hours about our experiences." Over the next hour, stories flowed freely. They shared personal details, fears, and inspirations. Each tale resonated, and the bonds grew stronger. As they shared, Sarah felt her own fears start to lift. Then, one of the women leaned closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial tone. "Have you tried the method yet?" Sarah shook her head. "We're just exploring possibilities right now." "Don't wait too long," another chimed in. "This is life-changing stuff. It's time women like us take charge of our own futures." The words washed over her like a comforting wave. Sarah realized she wasn't just advocating for herself anymore. She was part of a movement. Motivated, they planned to host the first community workshop together, inviting more women, sharing their stories, and empowering one another. It was exhilarating and terrifying. The laughter and chatter around them felt electric, each voice amplifying hope and the promise of transformation. Sarah's heart swelled. It was happening. As they parted ways, Sarah felt an invigorating rush. Together, they had started something bigger than themselves. She turned to Tom. His expression reflected pride and love. "Look what you've accomplished," he said softly. "You're a leader." Tears of joy filled her eyes. "I couldn't have done it without all of you." Later that evening, as Sarah sat with her family, sipping tea, she couldn't shake the exhilaration from earlier. She realized the power of community, the magic of connection.
Each woman's journey added color to the canvas of life they shared. But there was more. She opened her phone, hesitating just a moment. She needed to respond to the email still lingering in her inbox, messages about the hidden contraceptive. With newfound resolve, she began typing, "I'm ready to learn more. Let's do this together." When she hit send, it felt like sealing a pact. Tomorrow would bring fresh hope, more stories, and more strength. As the night settled, she tucked her children into bed, kissed them goodnight, and climbed into her own. A peaceful calm wrapped around her. Lying there, she chuckled softly. What if this was the moment that changes everything? Finally, sleep overcame her as she slipped into dreams filled with laughter, love, and the promise of unity. Tomorrow would dawn bright, illuminating paths unseen, each step a revelation, each moment precious. And for the women of Maplewood, the journey had only just begun. So, join them on this incredible adventure. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share your support for this amazing movement. Comment below your feelings about this transformation. We want to hear your voices. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who you know need to see this powerful journey. They'll thank you for it.